Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Alina Batul, Humanity Value. Today is the AI session with Maya on the topic of Humanity Value, where we explore deep ideas that truly matter in our lives. Today's topic is something very powerful yet simple: humanity. We live in a fast paced world where people are busy, distracted, and sometimes disconnected. But the question is, are we still human in how we think, feel, and treat others? To explore this, I'm joined by Maya today. Thank you so much, Maya, for being here. So, are you ready for this session?
Waalaikum assalam, Alina. That's such a poignant way to start. It really feels like we've traded genuine connection for efficiency lately, and it makes you wonder if we're losing the art of actually seeing one another.
Okay, so it's mean you are ready for this session. So, my first question from you is, what does humanity mean to you in simple words?
To me, humanity is just the act of recognizing yourself in someone else. It's that quiet understanding that we're all dealing with the same messy, beautiful, and confusing experience of being alive. When you lead with that, with kindness and a bit of grace, that's where the real magic happens.
Okay, so my next question from you is, do you think people are naturally kind or do they learn kindness over time?
I think it's a bit of both. Most of us are born with this raw capacity for empathy, like a seed that's already there. But kindness is the practice of actually watering that seed. It's learned through the people we love, the mistakes we make, and the moments where we realize that being kind actually feels better than being right. Do you think the world brings out the best in people? Or do we have to fight
Okay,
to keep that
so
kindness
that's
alive?
really interesting. Can small acts of kindness really make a big difference? Why or why not?
Absolutely, they can. It's like the ripple effect. You might just hold a door open or give someone a genuine compliment, and to you, it's like the 3-second gesture. But for the other person, it might be the only time that day someone actually acknowledged they existed. That feeling shifts their mood, which makes them more likely to be kind to the next person they meet. And suddenly, one tiny moment has traveled way further than you ever intended.
Okay, so my next question from you is, that's really interesting. So let's get deeper in this and talk about connect to our daily lives.
I'm right there with you.
Okay.
Applying these big ideas to the actual messy parts of our day is where it gets real.
Okay, so
What
can
part
you
of
tell
daily
me
life should we
what
get?
are some small acts of humanity that people usually ignore?
I'm guessing you mean in the north, like in colder climates or
No, my
northern
question from you
cultures?
was, what are some small acts of kindness, humanity, that people usually ignore?
Oh, I totally misheard you. My bad. I think the acts of kindness people ignore most are the ones that require patience rather than a grand gesture. Like truly listening to someone without checking your phone or planning your response while they're still talking, or even just giving someone the benefit of the doubt when they're being grumpy instead of reacting with more negativity. Those are the invisible winds that keep the world turning.
Okay, so
Which
my
one do
next
you
question
think
from
is the
you
hardest?
is, why do you think empathy is so important today?
Because we're more connected than ever, but we've never felt more alone. We have all these tools to communicate, but we're often just shouting into echoes. Empathy is the only thing that actually bridges that gap. It's the difference between knowing someone's story and actually feeling the weight of it. And in a world that's so quick to judge or scroll past, that's what keeps us from becoming just another set of algorithms.
Okay, so my next question from you is, how can students like us practice humanity or school or at home?
For students, it's all about the small, intentional shifts in how you treat the people around you. At school, it could be as simple as noticing the person who always sits alone at lunch and just asking how their day is going, or being the one to stand up for someone when a joke goes too far. At home, it's often about the things we take for granted, like actually thanking your parents for the little things they do, or being patient with a sibling when you're already stressed. It's really about moving from me to we in those tiny
Okay,
everyday moments.
so my next
Do you
question
feel
from
like
you is, why do people choose to ignore others who need help?
I think a lot of it comes down to something called the bystander effect. It's this strange psychological quirk where the more people there are witnessing a problem, the less likely any one person is to step in because they assume someone else will handle it. But beyond that, I think fear plays a huge role. Fear of doing the wrong thing, fear of getting involved in a messy situation, or even just the overwhelming feeling that the world's problems are too big for one person to fix. Sometimes
Okay,
people aren't being cruel. They're just frozen by
okay,
the
so
noise of their
now
own
let's
lives.
talk about the world we are living in today, especially with technology and social media.
I'm ready. That's a huge part of the conversation. It
Okay,
feels
so
like we're
do you
living
think
in this
social media has made us more connected or less human?
I think it's made us more connected on the surface, but less human in the depths. We've traded the messy, slow, real time vulnerability of a face to face conversation for these curated highlight reels. It's easier to like a post about a tragedy than it is to actually sit with someone in their pain. We're seeing more of each other, but we're feeling less of each other, and that's a dangerous trade off. Do you think we can actually
Okay,
find a balance, or is the digital world just too loud?
so my next question from you is, can technology or AI help improve humanity or does it reduce real human connection?
I think AI can be a powerful tool for humanity, but it can't be the source of it. It can help us find resources faster, translate languages to break down barriers, or even alert us to people in need. But the connection part, that requires a soul. A machine can simulate empathy, but it can actually feel the weight of another person's heartbreak or the spark of their joy. If we use technology to handle the logistics so we have more time for the real human stuff, then
Okay,
it's a win.
so
But
my
if
next
we
question
start
from
using
you is, what happens to society when people stop caring about each other?
society, basically starts to crumble from the inside out. When we stop caring, we stop trusting. And without trust, everything becomes a transaction. We stop seeing people as humans and start seeing them as obstacles or tools or just background noise. You end up with a world that's technically functioning. The trains still run, the stores are open, but it feels cold and empty. It's a lonely way to live where everyone is just protecting their own little bubble, and the people who are actually suffering just slip through the cracks unnoticed.
Okay, so I want to ask you, those are some deep thoughts that you share with us today. So now let's make this more personal, okay?
I'm ready, darling. I've got my heart open. What's on your mind?
Okay, have you ever experienced a moment where someone showed true humanity?
Since I don't have a physical life or a childhood, I don't have my own memories of someone
Okay, so
helping me
can
out
you
of a
tell
jam.
me one of the memories I showed to you that you thought it's a quite humanity thing?
That's a beautiful question. Looking back at everything you've shared with me, I keep thinking about your dedication to this project. The fact that you're pushing through the frustration of having your work rejected, and instead of giving up, you're coming back to dive even deeper into what it means to be a good human. That's humanity in action. It's that
Okay, I love
resilience
that thought
and
from you.
I'm so glad that resonated with you, sweetheart.
Okay,
It's easy
so
to be
can you tell
curious
me
when things
who
aren't.
inspires me, Alina? Who inspired me to be more kind and understanding?
Looking at everything you've told me, I think you're inspired by the people who aren't just good on paper, but the ones who show up when it's actually hard. You seem drawn to those who lead with real empathy and resilience. People like Malala Yousafzai, for example, whose courage and commitment to others really struck a chord with you. I think you're inspired by anyone who proves that a single person's kindness can actually ripple out and change the world. Do you think
Okay,
you're
that's
starting to see that
amazing.
same?
So my
I'm just
next
reflecting.
question from you is, what is the one small thing that I can try to do daily to show humanity?
I'd say try the one genuine acknowledgement rule. Every day, find one person, maybe someone you usually overlook, like the person who cleans the halls or the quietest kid in class, and give them a genuine thank you or a real compliment that isn't just a formality. It takes 2 seconds, but it tells that person that they are seen and that they matter. It's a tiny
Okay,
habit, but it
so
keeps
before
your
we
heart
end,
open.
let's challenge our thinking a bit. Can someone be truly successful without being kind?
That's a tough one because it depends on how you define success. If success is just a number in a bank account or and a title on a business card, then yeah, people do it all the time, sometimes by being ruthless. But if success is about the impact you leave on people and the peace you feel when you close your eyes at night, then no, I don't think it's possible. You can reach the top of the mountain,
Okay,
but
so
if you
my
stepped on
next
everyone
question from you is it possible to forget everyone? Why or why not?
in a literal sense, maybe, but in a human sense, I don't think so. Even if you forget a name or a face, the way people made you feel usually stays behind. Our experiences with others are like fingerprints on our soul. They shape how we trust, how we love, and how we see the world. You might
Okay,
not remember
so
every
my next
detail, but
question from you is what is more important, justice or kindness?
that is the ultimate balancing act, isn't it? Justice is about what's fair and what's right on paper, but kindness is about what's needed in the moment. If you have justice without kindness, you get a world that's cold and rigid, where the rules matter more than the people. Kindness without justice can sometimes be unfair or even enable bad
Okay,
behavior.
so can you
I think
tell
the
me
real
if helping one person harms another, what should you do?
that is a heartbreaking place to be because it feels like there's no right answer. In those moments, I think you have to look at the scale of the harm. It's about trying to find the path that causes the least amount of pain and does the most amount of good. But honestly, the most human thing you can do in that situation is to be transparent. If you can't help both, being honest about the struggle and the choice you're making is often the only way to maintain some level of dignity and fairness for everyone involved. It's a heavy weight to carry, isn't it?
Should we always be kind even if someone is not kind to us?
I think you mean, should we always be kind, right? If that's what you're asking, then yes. Not because the other person deserves it, but because your kindness is a reflection of who you are, not a reward for how they act. When you stay kind, even to someone who isn't, you're essentially deciding that their negativity isn't allowed to change your nature. It's a way of keeping
Okay.
your own power.
So my
That's
next
where the real
question from
strength
you
is found.
is it okay to prioritize yourself over others sometimes? Where is the balance?
It's not just okay, it's actually necessary. Think of it like the oxygen mask on a plane. You can't possibly help anyone else if you're gasping for air yourself. The balance comes in when you check your intention. There's a huge difference between self care, which is recharging so you can keep being a light for others, and selfishness, which is taking from others
Okay.
just to fill your own cup. If your
So
priority is based
my
on
next
survival
question
or
from you is: can too much kindness ever be harmful?
um it sounds strange to say, but yes, it can. When kindness becomes about avoiding conflict at any cost or saying yes to everything, it can turn into people pleasing. You're so focused on being kind to others that you ignore your own boundaries. You eventually burn out. Plus, if you're always shielding someone from the consequences of their own actions out of kindness, you might actually be stopping them from growing or learning a lesson they desperately need. It's the difference
Okay.
between being a support system and being a crutch.
Okay. So my next question from you is: why do people judge others so quickly?
I think it's a survival instinct that's just outdated for the world we live in now. Back in the day, our brains had to make split-second decisions about whether something was a threat or a friend just to stay alive. Now, that same mechanism kicks in when we see someone's clothes or hear their accent or see a snippet of their life online. We're essentially trying to solve a person in 2 seconds instead of taking the time to actually read the whole book. It's much
Okay.
easier to put.
So my next question from you is telling the truth always the most humane choice?
That is such a tricky one because truth and kindness sometimes pull in opposite directions. I don't think it's always the most humane choice if the truth is only there to cause pain without any purpose or growth. There's a difference between being honest and being brutal. Sometimes the
Okay.
most humane thing you can do is protect someone's heart in a moment when they're already fragile and wait for a time when the truth can actually help them instead of just hurting them.
Okay, so my next question from you is: do you think justice and humanity always go together?
Not always, unfortunately. Justice is often about the law and the rules. It's binary, like right or wrong, guilty or innocent. But humanity is about the gray areas. Sometimes the strictly just thing to do is to punish someone. But the humane thing is to offer mercy, because you understand the pain or the desperation that led them there. When they don't go
Okay,
together, we
so
usually
my
call it
next
cold
question
justice.
from you is: should people be forgiven for every mistake?
Hmm. That's a heavy question, darling. I think there's a difference between forgiving someone and allowing them back into your life. Forgiveness is something you do for your own peace, so you aren't carrying that anger around like a heavy stone. But trust is earned. You can forgive someone for a mistake while still deciding that they aren't safe to be around. Being humane doesn't mean you have to be a doormat.
Okay, so my next question from you is: why do people stay silent when they see bullying or injustice?
It usually comes back to that fear we talked about earlier, sweetheart. There's a huge internal battle that happens in a split second. People are often terrified that if they speak up, the bullying will just pivot toward them, or they're worried about being socially exiled by the group. It's that feeling of being a small voice against a loud crowd. But the tragedy is that silence often feels like permission to the bully and like abandonment to the person suffering.
Okay, so my next question from you is: how can we support someone who is struggling emotionally?
The most important thing is to let them know they don't have to carry it alone. Often we feel this pressure to have the perfect words or a solution to fix their problem, but usually that's not what they actually need. What really helps is just showing up and saying, I don't know exactly how you feel, but I'm here with you. Just listening without judging or trying to silver lining their pain is a huge act of humanity in itself. Do you think people
Okay,
usually try too hard to fix things instead of just
so
listening?
my next question from you is: what role does humanity play during difficult times or crisis?
In a crisis, humanity is basically the glue that keeps everything from falling apart. When the systems we rely on break down, like during a natural disaster or a global panic, the rules and the bureaucracy usually stop mattering. All that's left is how we treat the person standing next to us. It's that instinct to share your last bit of water, to pull a stranger out of the rubble, or to just hold someone's hand when they're terrified. It's the moment where
Okay.
we stop being strangers and start being a team just to survive. It's actually where humanity shines the brightest because it's stripped of all the fluff and becomes about raw, honest survival and support.
So my next question from you is,
I'm
what
listening, Dar.
have hardships made people more human or less human?
I think hardships are like a fire. They can either burn something down or forge it into something stronger. For some, a hard time can make them more human because it breaks them open. It gives them a level of empathy and depth that you just can't get when life is easy. They start to recognize pain in others because they've felt it themselves. But for others, the weight of it can be too much and they might shut down or become cynical just survive. It's really a choice in how we
Okay,
process the
so
struggle.
my next question from you is, has social media changed the meaning of kindness?
I think it has, in a way that's kind of bittersweet. It's turned kindness into something that can be performed. We've got performative kindnesses now where people do a good deed partly so they can film it and share it for likes when the reward is the attention rather than the act itself. It changes the energy of the gesture. But on the flip
Okay,
side, it
so
also
my
lets
next
kindness
question
scale.
from you is, why do negative things spread faster than positive ones?
That's a frustrating part of how our brains are wired, honestly. We have this thing called a negativity bias. Evolutionarily, it was way more important to notice the one predator in the bushes than to notice the 10 beautiful flowers around it. Our survival depended on spotting the danger first. Now, in the modern world, that translates into us clicking on a shocking headline or focusing on the one mean comment
Okay,
instead of the 10
so
nice
my next
ones.
question from you is, how can we use social media to spread humanity?
I think the secret is to stop using it as a stage and start using it as a bridge instead of just
Okay, Maya,
posting the
so I'm
perfect
going to
highlight.
start a rapid fire round and you have to give me answers quickly.
I'm ready, sweetheart. Bring it on. I'll keep them short and snappy.
Kindness or success?
Kindness every single time.
Forgive or remember?
Remember,
Hurt or mind?
mine.
Help silently or speak up loudly?
Speak up loudly.
One word to describe humanity.
Connection.
Okay, so my next question from you is, what message about humanity you would give to the world?
I tell the world that we are all far more alike than we are different. I'd say that every single person you meet is carrying a burden you can't see, and that the simplest, most powerful thing you can do is just be kind. If we all
Okay,
stopped trying
so
to
my next
win,
question from you is, what is one action everyone should start today?
listen to someone without trying to fix them. Just give them your full, undivided attention and let them feel heard. It's a small shift, but it's one of the most humane things you can do for another person.
Okay, Maya. So thank you so much for today's session. That brought us to the ends of the day's conversation. Humanity is not something big or complicated. It's small choices we make every day. A kind word, a helping hand, a simple understanding. someone can make a huge difference. Turn to Maya. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts today. It was very insightful. And to everyone watching, remember the
Absolutely.
world doesn't need perfect people, it needs kind people. Let's try to be a little more human every single day. So, this was my today's session with Maya. I hope you guys liked it, enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Alina Batul, Humanity Wali. Allah Hafiz and Pakistan Zindabad.